Hello, we are Zebro, an Odoo solution partner with a strong focus on providing sustainable solutions for our clients to make more people independent in Odoo. This video is focused on the technical improvements that Zync provides as an interface framework or configuration. That's where I have to digress a little bit and go into the features. But I would mention a few examples. That means number one of the biggest things is that a IT savvy person or junior developer will be able to build an interface that surpasses their skill level by a wide margin. Because if I remove my demo data here for a moment, when I make a new interface and just had a few hours to deal with the sync, then we just pulled data from Odoo to show why it's better. I get data from Odoo and we don't have to do anything major with it now. Map it out. I might as well import it back into Odoo. It's just to show that we have anything at all, but I'll finish it shortly so that it somehow makes a bit of sense in itself. As a junior who has just been working on it, I just have to use front end for now and say, from my local Odoo, I get everything I have in terms of products. That's why we always say it's not that easy to understand. I have to know where to look, what the models are called, and import them. And now it's already starting. A junior programmer may encounter challenges even with debugging. We are immediately in a step-by-step debugging mode here, so we can look immediately. What is actually happening here? What data is coming in and adapt it? Because we have specialized it for Odoo, I don't have to deal with this huge JSON. I can say I want to use the Odoo function, run it briefly, and always see immediately what the system is doing. It has now fetched all the products with these IDs. Anyone who can change Odoo in any way can do something with this. You don't need to know it because the principle is always the same. Now, when I map it, I know that a product has a name. So I just simply map the name to, doesn't really matter, product name, because that's what my store needs. And again, I can now check that we have just mapped a record from each of the products with just the names of the products on the product field. And I only need to have seen that once. After some practice, I'll be fine. I can also seek guidance from someone else or benefit from a bit of training. In code, I should already know and understand quite a lot about how to access Odoo and how to iterate through it. And that's the first step, so to speak. That means what a technical optimization is that an interface built with the Zync always has a very high quality standard. It is always instanced, so that if I have somehow jumped out and broken something, I can catch up on old things, jump back in again, and see, it didn't work here. Yes, that's right. Because someone didn't write what was supposed to happen with it. And now we would simply import the data back in the same way, which of course makes no sense. There was no need for me to use any code. And even in the places where I need code, because now I would, for example, sort out if names are too long and say, okay, if a name is too long, there's just a mini guide. So now I need code, but just super small snippets. So much less than a senior who has to build the whole construct. And we can be very good at helping with things that are repeated. An example would be typical date format. Yes, it's code, but There is then a small instruction or a comment. We can also store instructions so that people know, aha, I can simply change a format here, but I don't have to understand it. So I don't have to Google it or anything, so to speak. I only have to do the last bit, and everything else is already done for me. Then the complexity is generally less, because everything is always the same. I can get into this much faster than if I had to build an interface from scratch. I need to understand which Python libraries are available to connect something. I need to understand what an ODBC driver is in order to access a database. The Zync takes care of all that, which means that ideally I can do it with almost no code or even none. And our absolute worst case would be that I still need a developer. But just a small part, only for a few complex matters. Someone could finish the complete mapping here, all the fields, prepare everything, do all the hard work, and then say, hey, programmer, or hey, dear Odoo partner, I need a Python snippet to change this specific data format or to transpose a column to the list or something like that. But this massively reduces the requirement for complex topics. Most of it is always taken off. And there's more. Because everything is standardized and uniform, technical debt is much lower. If a bug should still be in here in our tool, or if you would migrate it for the next version, we fix it for everything. In other words, the technical debt is much lower because a lot of resources can go into this one framework to perfect it. If I build 20 different interfaces, and maybe 20 different people will do that too, because I have a few internal ones, a few external ones. At some point, I change my partners, and I have another freelancer. Then they have nothing to do with each other. Then I know exactly. If Python changes a version that introduces a bug, I immediately have to fix it in many places and have all kinds of problems. Similarly with a migration, an interface in the code is code and would hinder a migration. The Zync can't perform magic. It won't ensure that the interface works seamlessly when I switch to the latest Odoo version. But what it does is not to block the migration because we are in the front end. That means we do the migration for the Zync. You migrate your system. If nothing else is installed and nothing is broken, it will work smoothly. And if the interfaces are broken, then only one specific one is broken and we're back in the thing. I look in my instances. Ah, yes, 3 are broken now. Fix it live. Because the name of a field has changed. That's a super risk-free thing. Everything else is still the same. And it didn't hinder the migration at all and even accelerated it because I'm debugging straight away and 90% of the things that didn't break are running immediately. And no deployment is necessary either. So let's take another quick look. If I notice, aha, I've made a mistake here, then change that and don't have a deployment. Deployment is a piece of cake for a senior developer, but for a junior developer, with his Git and his commits and his rebase and cross functions in the code, and not to break something in the process. Once more, not as simple as it seems, but there are no deployments. There is something that could be called deployment, which would be that you import a pipeline developed in the demo system, or updated, I mean fields in a demo system, because I have interfaces that must not falter for a second. The recommendation is always not to make live changes, but to stick a test system in front of it. So much for technical optimization. There would certainly be many more features to mention. Mappings can be imported in bulk, and therefore you are faster and it is easier because you don't have to write it down in code. There would definitely be more to tell about cron job instances. Batching with parallel queue jobs. It doesn't really stop at topics that are difficult to summarize in a short video, where the Zync already has it ready. And as a junior developer, I get along well. In conclusion, I can only tell you my story. A year ago, I had zero experience creating interfaces until the last few months when I started designing interfaces for a wide range of requirements in a very short time. Once you enter and are familiar with Zync, 'tis almost astonishing the speed with which you can build interfaces, the quality and accuracy you can achieve here, the progress that can be made. Thank you for your attention.